So we had a question from one and only Adam Gumbert.
Shout out to Adam Gumbert.
Thank you, Adam, for going over to our Facebook page, posting this question. For any Metal Gear fans, what are your thoughts on the Metal Gear Survive gameplay? Not being a Metal Gear fan myself, I think the game looks decently interesting, and since I have no real love for Kojima, I could give it a chance. What about you guys?
I'm not really a Metal Gear fan either. I've never really played any of their games. Like, it's just never intrigued me.
Yeah.
So I personally will not be checking it out.
Okay. I'm just going to read this one part again. I have no real love for Kojima. Who are you? Do you not like video games?
Did you ever watch Rocko's Modern Life?
Yes.
Do you remember the giant hippo lady?
No.
Well, she would only say these three little words, and I will say this to Mr. Gumbert. How dare you?
Okay. So Kojima, if Kojima was not in the video game industry, video games would not be where they are at.
No.
Okay. So, and yes, he probably did something wrong. We don't really know. We just saw how Konami handled it so poorly and got so much bad PR. We've talked about it many, many times on here. I'm not going to get into it. Go reevaluate your life, Adam.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
But that being said, I watched the gameplay for Metal Gear Survive. It was about 15 minutes. They were showcasing it at the Tokyo Game Show. And looks just like Metal Gear 5, Phantom Pain. Have nothing wrong with that. Game looks great. Game played great. But they're in this alternate reality with these creatures. They won't call them zombies, but they're creatures. And it has some different playing mechanics where you're having to gather a lot more resources to build what you need and everything. And you've got these wormholes and all. It's just kind of a gobbledygook in some places, but some of the gameplay was actually interesting with you're having to set up these beacons to punch through this wormhole to get back to where you were and all of this. But you get to build fences, and it's kind of like Horde mode in Gears of War, which I find very interesting. I always loved Horde mode. But for it to be a full price, it's not even a full price game. For it to be a game, there's got to be some kind of story elements. Gameplay wise, it's Phantom Pain with some bells and whistles attached to it. But overall, I probably won't unless I gamefly it, but I'm not going to support Konami financially, just because of the way they handle all of that. But I did find this interesting, because Kojima actually come out and said something at Tokyo Game Show. So Kojima took the opportunity to distance himself from Konami's forthcoming game, Metal Gear Survive, the spin-off of Kojima's acclaimed Metal Gear series. When asked whether the idea of Survive had come from Kojima himself, he replied, "That's nothing to do with me." Right up there. That's telling you a lot.
Yeah.
Just letting y'all know that. The Metal Gear games are about political fiction and espionage, he continued. Where do zombies fit in with that?
He's got a point.
Kojima was also joined by Yoji Shinonakawa, the former character and mechanical designer of it, and he denied also having any kind of involvement in planning any of this. And he said, if I had worked on that game, it would have had mechs in it. So, kind of give you a little bit there on all of that. But very interesting, that whole situation. We all knew that Konami would go back to the well of Metal Gear.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's their really last standing big franchise.
It's their big franchise that people know.
Yeah, but for them to turn around so fast,
That's kind of messed up.
it's kind of messed up, and it's telling me that they're using a lot of the same assets, but they're not giving a lot of time for this to develop, which is a red flag for me again. But Kojima also went on and he talked about Death Stranding, which we saw at E3 this year. Very weird trailer. Norman Reedus naked and picking up a baby that dissolved into handprints. It was really just strange. It was like an acid trip.
A lot of female Walking Dead fans will be happy at that first thing.
So Kojima went on to talk about it will be out before the Olympics, and so he's referring to the 2020 Tokyo Games. And to go a little further, there's a movie called Akira, and it will be coming out before the year in which Akira is set. And the anime movie is set in 2019, so before that, so that's 2018. That is a very quick turnaround as well for how long it took him to go from Metal Gear 4 to Metal Gear 5. I don't know if he's going to hit that date.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be very tough, but I don't know if he can hit that date. So it's very interesting. This whole thing was fed by Twitter questions, and someone asked if Norman Reedus was naked or nude, whatever, and he said no, he was wearing underwear. Unfortunately.
Keyword, unfortunately.
Yeah, keyword is unfortunately. There's a comma.
Yeah.
So.
However, comma.
But it's a very interesting looking game. I don't know, like, from what the beginning of Metal Gear 5 was just such a mind bend that it's kind of like, where is he headed on some of this stuff? So he's always had a very different take on things. So interested to see where that is. So going back to the well of questions.
The Facebook.
We'll go with another video game one before we switch gears again. With Forza Horizon 3 coming out, what are the best dream cars you'd love to drive in a game? I'm going to go ahead and say I'd like to drive the 66 Batmobile, so try not to copy my answer.
Sunglasses, smiley face.
I ain't got to copy your answer, son. I ain't got to copy none of your stuff.
Now, if we're just picking any car, my answer is easy.
What is
and that would be the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Because once you hit 88 miles per hour, you can just skip ahead in time and beat everybody.
Well, mine would be this little number right here. Shoot, where's the name at? DB10.
We're going espionage here.
Yeah, we're going espionage. We're going to the Aston Martin DB5. So that would be one of them. As well as not the 66 Batmobile, but the Dark Knight Returns Batmobile, the tank.
Yeah. Well, then you can just mow over everybody.
Yeah, just shoot everybody.
If we're going Batmobile, I would probably go with the Tim Burton one.
Ooh,
I've always been a big fan of that one.
I like that one.
It's classic.
Yeah, I like that one. Speeder bike from Star Wars would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. And then any Crash Bandicoot racing karts.
Vin Diesel's car from the original Fast and the Furious, the black one that he drove at the very end. The thing was a beast.
Mm-hmm. So many to choose from. Gone in 60 Seconds, that Shelby, that Mustang.
That's such
Shelby.
a good movie.
Yes, and that car is delicious.
Yes, it is.
So that would be that. Not a Forza fan though. I'm
not either.
My racing games, I've got to have some little leeway to it. I'm not a simulator kind of guy, so I'm not a huge fan of Forza now.
I'm pretty much Mario Kart.
Yeah. Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2, that was my jam. That was right in the height of the very first Fast and the Furious.
NASCAR Racing 1995 for PlayStation 1. One of the best racing games of all time. Down the road, not flirting. Yeah,
disaster.
I used to play that game with my dad all the time.
Get to shoot the paintballs and all that. There was another one. It was NASCAR, but it was like all of these weird tracks. It wasn't regular. What
was that? We'll go to the well.
We'll go to the well.
Well, while you search for it, let's do a question. See, from Derek Daniel. Since TV seasons technically start this week, with Gotham starting tomorrow and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. starting Tuesday, I just wanted to know if you had any hopes for their third and fourth seasons respectively, especially with the big bads being the Court of Owls for Gotham and Ghost Rider for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or any bold predictions. I just couldn't get into Gotham. I tried. I love the guy that they got to play Harvey Bullock. He looked the part. I thought he played the part very well. But like halfway through season 1, I fell off of it. I haven't been able to get back into it. I'm very excited about Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because it's not Johnny Blaze. It's the Robbie Reyes version from that comic book that we read a couple of years ago, where it's this guy that's looking after like his younger brother, and he gets the Ghost Rider curse and he drives the car instead of the motorcycle. Like there's art out for it and it looks really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good concept with that book. It didn't last very long, but
and it lasted like 12 or 13 issues.
Was it NASCAR Road Racing? Sorry.
NASCAR Road Racing?
No, I don't think that was it. NASCAR Thunder.
Thunder, I think, was the main franchise.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I know it started out with Magic Carpet Ride when you loaded up the.
You don't know what we can see.
Like I remember like
that soundtrack is very memorable.
Yeah, it had like boost and like had all different kind of like pickups. It was like a kart racer type deal, but it was NASCAR. And it was really, really fun. Court of Owls, I think that's an awesome way to go with Gotham. Just can't get into Gotham. So it is what it is.
I'm more excited for the DC shows than I am with Marvel. Well, Luke Cage comes out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I thought it came out today. Like I thought it was like out already on the 17th.
Yeah, it's the 30th.
Yeah, I went to Netflix. I was like, oh, it's not out yet, so I'll just wait.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Yep, the waiting game.
Derek Daniel also says, I forgot to ask last week, but with NFL now in full swing, do you have any dark horses making the playoffs? They don't have to be in the Super Bowl, just teams that no one expects to make the playoffs that you think actually can.
The Oakland Raiders make it as a wild card team. They have a very young team, but they have a very good young quarterback in Derek Carr. They've got a good receiving core. Their offensive line is like top 3 or 4 in the NFL. Their defense, I think, is one step away, but I think they can at least make the playoffs. I think they'll make it and then lose it in the first round, but I have Oakland from the AFC. From the NFC, yeah, we do need to talk about that. Well, I would have said the Vikings until Teddy Bridgewater got hurt. Sorry, Nick. Trying to think by divisions. I don't know. I don't know who from the NFC would make it as a sleeper team.
Florida Gators.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Roll Tide.
Oh, God.
I will have to say I took great pleasure.
Are you talking about the Florida State game?
Oh, yeah.
That was an embarrassment.
It was.
By Florida State. It was I think the third worst loss by a top 2 team in college football history.
Good.
They were embarrassed.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Like, absolutely embarrassed.
So I give a little backstory real quick. Yesterday on the whole thing with the fundraising and everything was called a march-a-thon, so we went around a neighborhood march and all that good stuff, and people paid us to play like different various things or whatever, and we put college fight songs. So we had to play LSU. Played LSU once. Totally fine with that. But for some odd reason, FSU fans just came out of the woodwork. So we had to play it like several times. Ugh. So, like, I was just like, like the whole time it's just cringe-worthy.
Makes your blood boil.
Yeah, it does. You know, I was like, whatever. It was like $100 a pop for us to play, and then we get done with that, and it's later in the day, and my band booster president texts me. He's like, you know, you might not have liked playing that FSU fight song all today, but karma caught up with them.
I just could not believe that.
It's
60-something points.
Mind-blowing. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
It was just wow.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, being a Florida fan, like, of course, I was rooting for Louisville, but like at the end of it, I was just like more amazed, like just by the pure margin, like how good Louisville did, because Florida State is a good team.
Oh yeah, they are. That's why it didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it was like just dumb. Like, what is going on?
It was
here?
crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
So, this
was sad.
To a sad note, we lost someone in the whole pop culture and nerd community this weekend. Clay Martin Crooker. He was an Adult Swim animator and a voice actor. He was at Pensacon twice. Great guy, very kind. Passed away this weekend.
He's most known for playing Zorak in Moltar from Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which was actually a really good cartoon back in the day. I never got a chance to talk with the guy. I know he was at Pensacon multiple times, but I always heard nothing but great things about him, and it's a shame.
Yeah, he was only 54. That's
crazy.
That's the sad part.
That's sad.
And apparently, it was very sudden. Like, he wasn't ill or anything. So,
yeah.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to his friends and families of the ones affected.
Absolutely.
So, that's just a sad thing for that all to happen. So,
yeah.
But all of that being said, we want to thank you, the ones that's looking at us right now as we stare into your eyes, whatever color they are, green, blue, brown,
hazel.
Yeah, just staring into them, longing, just telling you that we appreciate you and everything that you do for us.
Before we get out of here, why don't you tell them about our Patreon?
Guys, we have this awesome thing. It's called Patreon. And it's a way to support us so we can do more awesome things. It's a subscription service throughout the month. You get episodes early. You get a bonus episode. We have several different tiers that you can check out on patreon.com/nerdcave. And we have awesome goals as well. Doing an AMA every month with one or two or all three of us. Live streaming more. Doing a live show every month. So several things that we want to accomplish, but we've got to have your support and to keep the lights on pretty much. So you can check that over at patreon.com/nerdcave. This podcast every week comes out early on Monday for the people that support us $5 and up for the audio and video versions. And then for the people that want to catch it free, they can check it out on Fridays on YouTube and all the podcast services. And we break it up throughout the week as YouTube segments, so you can check it out there. But guys, if you've got the money to help us out, go over and support us. We'd appreciate it a lot. Derek might even do a sexy dance for you.
We'll save it for the Patreon.
Yeah, we should make that a tier. Derek does a sexy dance.
Most awkward thing ever. But we also
put on Pony by Genuine.
Good song, by the way. We do have several podcasts throughout the week in addition to this one. Every Monday we have Nerd Cave Retro with myself and my co-host Jason Robbins. We review a retro game every week, discuss this month in gaming history, any kind of news that involves retro gaming. Wednesday, we have Fantasy Football for Nerds with myself and Robbie Rawls. We get you set for your weekly fantasy football leagues. Thursday is my interview show, The Derek Diamond Experience. Friday is this show, The Nerd Cave Podcast. And on Saturdays, they're on a little bit of a hiatus now, but they'll be back in October, The Pop Culture Palette.
Yeah. So, guys, check out all of those. They're all over podcast services. We work really hard throughout the week to bring you awesome content. And we also have a gaming channel. You can find it over at Nerd Cave Gaming. We have a link in here and all of that good stuff as well. So check it out. We put in some hard work in there. We love to talk about games and do Let's Plays and everything. So go support us over there and hit the subscribe button there. And while you're here, hit the subscribe button here and hit that like. But guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for all our Patreon supporters over there. You know who you are. It's all over the place. You're great. We love you. And if you're not a supporter, we still love you. Just slightly less. Anyway. Guys, this has been Zach.
And Derek.
Have a week.